Well, hey, first series is coming up. Fire and Ice going against Elevate. Fire and Ice, as of recently, has been playing with their sub for whatever reason. But hey, it is what it is. I think the full roster will be here tonight, which is going to make them very strong. You mentioned we're so close to the major. We're probably going to be seeing the best form from F&I. And for Elevate, they definitely have had some growing pains, but I think they're looking quite all right to go into this series. Let's take a look at the team head-to-head and see how both teams are stacked up against each other. Definitely a difference in the overall record, map win percentage. KDA obviously over towards Fire and Ice, but plus or minus relatively the same, and a true engagement success relatively the same. So definitely the teams, I gotta say, all rosters, both rosters, the 4 stacks are pretty much on the same page, Blaze.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was looking at those bottom 3 stats, the KDAs, the plus minus, the true engagement success, very close when it comes down to those statistics. So both these squads, we'll see how that matches them up against each other, because their records are different, having different successes against some of these teams that's out here. But that can come down to play style a lot, and both these rosters do have a different play style. Fire and Ice, a little bit more on the aggressive side compared to Elevate. They have both gears. They can play you aggressive sometimes, but they're going to be a little bit more methodical. They got some strategies that they want to play off of, some different looks that they want to see off the initial first before they just kind of fly at you. And I feel like Fire and Ice, man, they will fly at you.
Yes, they will. And we at our pick and to see it, Fire and Ice of thank you. Let's take a look at Asylum and map.
All right, so we got our picks and bans here. While we get R2D2 charged up there in the background, looking at our map cycle, we got Asylum being picked by Elevate, Fire and Ice choosing Exhibit for map number 2, and then at the back end, Elevate choosing District for map number 3. So I got to be honest with you, I'm loving District and Asylum for Elevates. Those 2 picks are going to be very good for them. But also Fire and Ice, they're a very great District team. We saw them, there was some trick strategies last week with centerline power weapons down throughout the entirety of the map. And then on the flipping, Exhibit probably is their best map. I don't know if Elevate's going to be able to deal with that firepower, but hey, we'll find out soon.
Well, you know what? I think you broke it down quite nicely, Blaze, for me. Asylum, Elevate, I feel that goes hand in hand. Exhibit those where Fire and Ice can heat up, but they have been showing that aggression sometimes bites them in the butt, without question. Their mid to late game sometimes struggles because they hit you so hard with the initial off the rip. And for me, that is something Fire and Ice has to get under control, especially when they start going against some of the top dogs, such as Pittsburgh Knights. You got Rebel out there who's in second place, and so on and so forth. But hey, let's go ahead and start talking about our predictions, Blaze. Who are we going to be sided with tonight? So for me, looking at this, we just mentioned it, how it's going to be pretty clear cut overall. I'm going to be honest with you, coming into it, it was an easy decision for me. I got to go with Fire and Ice. You know, Fire and Ice for me personally has just been looking incredible. I think they're a solid team. Elevate still showing some growing pains with Vino. Vino, much respect to him, though. I love the Batista bomb. He came out, you know, he let him know, look, I'm here in Pro League. You got to take me seriously. But even so, Fire and Ice, I think they've got the leg up here. What are you thinking?
I'm with you on that one, Taylor. I got to go with Fire and Ice. They're a top 3 team in the Pro League. They've looked good against all the top competition. Elevate, I think they need a little bit more time. I enjoyed their matchup against Hive last week, but Hive has their own struggles.
It's true.
And even though that matchup against Hive went well for Elevate, not going to give me any confidence over here against Fire and Ice. So they're going to have to, make me a believer as we go into the major that they can compete at the level of Fire and Ice, and that they have enough time with Vino to be contenders. So we'll see.
It's true. Well, chat, where are you going? I know right now we're pretty much tied up, but I want you guys to go with Elevate. I truthfully do. But are you going to go with Fire and Ice? I assume you're going with Fire and Ice. I can't even really kid myself, okay? It's Latin America. It's Fire and Ice. You guys are going to support the backing horse that you guys know and believe in. It's going to be Fire and Ice across the board. So nobody will be able to take a jab here, take the lead. That's all right, though. Fire and Ice is a fair pick. But Elevate now, again, as I always say, your back is against the wall. Everybody's against you. Now it's time to show up and show us what you can do. As Blaze said, still a lot to be determined with this roster. And Vino, he stepped it up. but can the rest of the roster adjust accordingly? That's the big thing. It's major, or it's getting close to that major, so I expect full form from Elevate tonight.
Week.
It is major week.
Officially, it is major week. You know, it's a Tuesday. Half of us should be on flights right now, getting closer to the event, but that's a different season, and we hopefully we could get back to a season that's similar to that one when it comes down to having Gears Esports on land. But for now, hey, the majors have been getting better and better, and the competition has been. But the competition is great. The game types have been changing. The updates that have been coming to the game has been getting better. So when we do get to land, the show that's going to be put on is going to be something that you guys do not want to miss out on. But for now, it's Fire and Ice versus Elevate. Let's see who comes out on top.
All right, let's get it going, Blaze. The breakout has started. Who's going to take the first jab, get that first blood? Might be Fire and Ice. You know how aggressive they like to be off the rip, and it's going to be Toti just on the other side of Demise. And then you have player 3 Xploidz. It's going to be on the other side of player number 6. It's going to be DeToX. Dyslexic doing what he does best, considerably with the pressure, putting that pressure on player number 8. But in the meantime, Elevate does get the first jab, gets on B, and that was because they felt confident with Toti dropping. Dyslexic is going to try and make matters in his own hands, but can't pick up the 2-piece.
Yeah, he can't grab that one there, but great effort off the start from Elevate. They defend from the home hill to home hill push. They get the B hill captured, but you see Demise was not able to get help in time to take the 2v1, but it is going to be able to come out now. Pistol and Lancer fire coming out from Elevate, making that one look easy. But they're going to get the revives. They're going to fortify once again around B hill and see if they can win one more team fight. But you see Dyslexic, he found an opening to shake this map up and get over towards his opponent's home hill.
Yeah, he's been doing a good job applying that pressure on streets, almost handling a 2v1, but ultimately dropping. But even so, despite Dyslexic playing as well as he is, Elevate is doing a great job on tracks, and we're already going to see a stalemate come through. Hey, great start to the day, Blaze. Hopefully we'll get this squared away and the players will be ready to go. But Fire and Ice, I guess, gets a second chance. They were down about 40 points.
Yeah, they're going to get a second chance. So I tell you one thing, though, I still love that stalemate, reset feature. But even starting off this one, we're probably going to reset again just based off the call characters and what's happening in the back of the spawn. Maybe some F&I issues. Elevate's gonna figure this one out right about now. Elevate says, you know what? They say we're taking our 2-to-1 hill setup.
Well, they're taking everything.
Hey,
they're taking everything.
Actually, it's their round. Yeah, no, they're gonna take their round.
That's fair.
Hey, you say you guys did that one. Lock it in.
And you know what? Fair enough, man. Because Elevate was playing so well, and again, Dyslexic in that first round was doing everything he could to try and keep the game alive. Goes for the OE, the 2-to-1, but for Fire and Ice, they just were not controlling tracks. Official word is Fire and Ice ended up ending that round accidentally, so that will be a round number 1 going over towards Elevate. The rest of the map should be played out normally. All right, so a little blunder on the side of Fire and Ice. That's not going to change much as far as weapon placements go. Probably still going to see these DeToX get placed down low. But as far as pretty much starting this map, giving up a free round, we'll see if it bites him in the behind a little bit later on.
Let us strike a decisive.
All right, we'll definitely see. Well, let's go ahead and get it going once again. Elevate off the break. So it was Fire and Ice. The attempt on tracks about to be underway. And Elevate did a great job once again. Round 1, controlling tracks. Dyslexic was instrumental up top, but again, you're not going to win just based off that fight alone. You have to get control of the neutral. It's just the way that it is. It's so hard to hold home hill to home hill with how this map plays out. But either way, though, the Streets fight is going to be going down. Fearzly on the other side of Dyslexic. Tidy feeling a lot of pressure, and Fire and Ice also winning the engagement on tracks. This Streets fight now, that much more important. Tidy and Vino need to hold their ground now, or else they could be looking at the domination.
And Tidy and Vino, they're going to get taken out, and it should be 3 players trip capping the home hill of Elevate. And just that quickly, F&I has gotten this game all tied up. You see that push there at the end by Vino and Tidy. As soon as their teammates die, it's best for you to start the fight, to start that engagement, rather than waiting for your opponents to push you. They did their best, but in the end, we're all going to be tied up 1-1.
All tied up 1-1, and good on Fire Nice to answer back in the fashion that they did. They did a great job. And again, that Streets fight, not as instrumental off the start, but if you do lose B and you have presence on Streets, you might be in a worrisome spot. And in that case, that's where Elevate found themselves. So Fire Nice off the true form, aggressive start, ends the round quickly. Elevate needs to find an answer.
All right, so same initial strategy as we saw the previous 2 rounds, but this DeToX is going to be putting in a lot of work down low as we saw towards the last round. Now, beforehand, this is first engagement, Taylor. It came out through up top. There's been a lot of action happening between Toti and Dyslexic. Fearzly is up top on a rotation. Vino's there as well, but Toti says he doesn't need much help there. So he's going to be able to take down Dyslexic, and Fearzly's going to be on a run. And I think most of this matchup, we're going to see Dyslexic try to harass Toti in that lane throughout multiple maps if they are going to be in those 1v1 positions. But Toti did a good job holding off on his own, and his team will be able to cap up the B hill.
Capping up the B hill, indeed. Liking what I'm seeing so far. Elevate looking great. Domination for sure going to come in. And this is what we need to see from Elevate. Great response, not letting that previous round get to them, Blaze. They're coming out hard. 2-1. They have a chance to take a 3-1 lead depending on how this next round goes. Vino 1-1. So stats at least at this point in 3 rounds, not going to be too crazy. We also had that stalemate. It is what it is. But I assume no centerline power weapon's going to go down just yet. And that's fine. We'll have the retros. We'll start building up for the shocks and the ensigns. Fair enough. Your typical stuff.
Yep, your typical stuff right there, because these squads know how important that shot grenade is going to be in the second half. So you want to make sure you can build those retros up to them as soon as possible. Now, for now, these retros, they may slow down that fight a little bit between Dyslexic and Toti down low, and we're going to get this engagement off the start. So far, so good between both these squads, but early in this round, we'll see what happens next.
All right, we'll definitely see what happens next. Currently at a standstill on tracks once again. Dyslexic doing what he does best, pressuring Toti, not allowing him to feel comfortable. And I respect Fire Nice for this. Normally, you don't see this much pressure. Both teams want to kind of figure out which, how that tracks fight is going to go down, and then they'll make a decision to push up on entrance. But Dyslexic, again, applying that constant pressure. Toti understands this. He knows this. Forced to fight and engage, but Dyslexic bit off more than he can chew, and a free lane for the OE is there. I say free, but Fearzly is going to be able to counter him. But meanwhile, the Streets fight, or tracks fight, not going too well for Elevate. They're going to lose it. What does Fire Nice do from this position? Well, they're going to have to double back. They need to get control of their own home hill.
So we're going to see Vino and Toti win both their fights in the top lane. Down low, the battle's won by Fire Nice. They're not going to overextend towards their opponent's home hill just yet. At this point, wait for your players to come off respawn, slowly take back your home. As soon as you do that, you pick up a few kills, you have the option of overextending towards your opponent's home, playing for that trip cap domination, or just keeping the lead, trying to get the lead in your favor if your opponent goes for the B hill decap. So we're seeing that right now, and we're also seeing on screen Dyslexic doing a fantastic job just getting off his opponent's side, well, cleaning up his side of the map and overextending towards his opponents to get that decap. So Fire Nice still in a good spot, Taylor. Round number 4 of the first half. We'll see how this one ends.
There's one.
All right, we'll definitely see how this one ends. Currently Elevate with the lead. Do they maintain it? Looks as if they're going to be quite all right. Fearzly knows he needs to push up, and you can see that aggression. But again, sometimes aggression, if it's reckless, will not pay dividends. And in that case for Fearzly, it doesn't. It's going to leave Xploidz and Toti now in a 2v2. They had the man advantage. Fearzly, if he gets a pick there, Fire Nice takes the neutral. But with the front train moving in and DeToX falling, this is going to be an awkward fight for Demise. He's by himself and an easy retake for F&I, but is it enough?
Yeah, he is. It is pretty awkward, but if he could take one, he misses the one shot. I know it was just off by about a centimeter there from getting that chunk on Xploidz, but the overextension is here from Elevate, and they can win off one hill at this point, but getting this down, they'll be able to have a 2v1 to lock in their opponent's home hill. As long as they can cap C as soon as possible, I don't see any reason why they should lose this round, but they're going to get into the engagement first. Beautiful stun grenade by Vino. Toti is going to clean up the last kill, and this duo has been working very, very well when it comes down to Pavilion Lane and Streets.
definitely have been working well. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far, but Fire and Ice looking to sneak this round away. They need to get over towards A while simultaneously not allowing players 7 and 6 to go for the overextension. That's going to be up to Fearzly, but as those two players do drop off from F and I think that's going to be all she wrote. Elevate will cap out at 250 and take the 3-1 lead. It's fair to say, Blaze, if Elevate can win this series tonight, not only is that going to question Fire and Ice's potential or performance during the spring major, but it's also going to raise a question for Elevate. Are they back? That is the biggest thing. Beating Fire and Ice tonight would be a big statement for Elevate.
Yeah, nah, it would be a huge statement for Elevate. Because one, it's gonna give Elevate a lot more respect amongst their peers when it comes down to these squads, because they know that this squad took a blow, losing Shock. But Vino, he has been doing his best, and I'll tell you one thing, man. You know, I might have to put Elevate in that dark horse category. They come out with this win and went out on the remaining games of the Pro League, because I got to ask myself, I know who my top 3 LATAM teams that are representing the region. That's Rebel, Fire and Ice, and PK. Who are my top 3 NA teams? You know, I see Hive up there, but they had a nice record. They've been on a losing streak, right? So do you move Rise up? Where does Elevate stay? Does Team Queso move up there as well when it comes down to top 3? Those are the questions we got to ask ourselves.
You definitely do, and those questions are going to be, well, we're going to be asking ourselves those questions very quickly, especially for a dialogue heading in to the spring major. Fire and Ice, they've got to step it up without question. You put Elevate at a 4-1 lead, they're not going to look back, but this entrance fight should go more in the way of Fire and Ice. You'd have to think, with their aggression, the way they wolf pack, their confidence in those close quarter fights. Even though Elevate was doing a great job on the tracks fight earlier, this fight's much different, and utility plays a huge role, but at least unfortunately right now there is no utility to use. It's all been used up. Elevate's going to try and push F&I back. I like the response, but they got to make sure it works. First, you got to take on Xploidz.
And he's going to finally go down now, but no more utility on the side of Fire and Ice. They're going to try to bait their teammate on this push, but Xploidz is going to take his life because he knows that he can't waste any more time being down at the entrance door when he could be respawning. So Elevate moves up. They clean up the remaining few kills. Fearzly's marked up. He's going to be getting crossed from up top. And this is a great position for Elevate. They should be able to take this lead. I would have loved to see them be a little more aggressive on that kill for Fearzly, but at the end of the day, don't risk your life in that situation. They're just going to slow it down. Toti does not want to be aggressive there. He knows how to be a nuisance with his Lancer and pistol while his teammates is working his entrance fight.
They are working that entrance fight. Absolutely, man. I like it. Elevate again, looking so good. Dyslexic, though, he's going to push up. Nobody's at cover. Elevate effectively backs off. They're going to play for the retake, but they also have presence down on tracks, and with player 4 being down, Fearzly out of the way, that's going to put Xploidz in a 1v2. Manages to get the down on one, can't get the second, and now Toti has free reign to get over towards Delta. And again, Fire and Ice in this position with Elevate being so close to cap, or at least being over the 200-point mark, they can't afford this decap. Scoreline still close, though. Fire and Ice has an opportunity to win this round, but so does Elevate, and right now the ball is in their court.
Yeah, the ball is going to be in Elevate's court because they need to decap at E. Fire and Ice is picking up the capture at their home hill. That gives them the lead. Now, nice shot grenade to back up F&I, but on the flip end, Elevate, they need this decap, and Toti is going to be able to make good use of being down at the entrance door for that decap, and even better usage of the flash from Demise to give his teammate an opportunity for the revive. Now, Elevate here in the late game, they have the lead, but they don't have their home hill, and that's a big 1v1 being one down low by Xploidz. The flank comes through from Toti. He finds 2. That's a 3rd, and it should be a Fire and Ice round.
Oh man, Fire and Ice. They're going to dig their way out of a hole, take this round. Elevate had it up to a certain point, but you got to give credit to Elevate, man, when credit is due. Keeping that round as close as they did. Well done, but that's only one round. The swing round is one for Fire and Ice. They're still down 1. An opportunity for Elevate to take the lead, or at least increase their lead to 4-2 is still there, but they've got to close those late games out. They really do. Again, they had that advantage, Blaze, for the longest time before Fire and Ice was able to close it out.
Yeah, they did have that advantage, but it was a lot of pressure coming through from Pavilion and down low towards tracks. Xploidz and Toti, I believe, was the 2 players that applied that pressure, being able to take out DeToX, which was the home hill player. And it worked out very, very well on the side of Fire and Ice. The timing of that push, especially while that down was up top at entrance, they knew that they can cause some commotion down low. And they just needed one heal to kind of be decapped and switch over towards their favor.
All right, well, let's go ahead and head into round number 6. The opportunity again for Elevate to take that 4-2 lead is there, and quite honestly, they need to. You don't want to put Fire and Ice back into the game. It's going to give them too much confidence. So at this point, Elevate's trying to take that first stab at the hill. They're going to be about halfway in. The shock is going to stop Fire and Ice from pushing up, and a good read, picking out Toti. He's down. He'll get picked back up, but at least not allowing him to overextend, get on that flank position. That's a big move from Elevate, but they back off completely. Fire and Ice can now take free reign and push up on the E.
Yeah, so they have no issues decapping this hill. But as I say that, Cross did come through down low for just a bit. Lots of smokes in this area, so you have to be careful as you move up. Never know if a player is just hiding behind that smoke screen. Now, Elevate, they know that it's time for a retake, and there's no point of just waiting for FNI to build up points. They know what their play is going to be. Focus was entrance. You see, I believe that was Dyslexic. He disengaged. Now, FNI can get in as much damage as they can. The focus fire is there, but Vino able to get to that power position to force that player back. Nice flank from Toti. Heads up play from him. That was a quick reaction.
And he's been in that spot now, twice. Again, I was complimenting Elevate for peeking him and finding out where he was on the OE, but he was able to get in that spot once again, and you could see the damage he was able to accumulate. But either way, I like this pressure from Elevate, a different look from them, and Fire and Ice being overwhelmed. Toti is out of the way. Xploidz forced to retreat, and Elevate is wolfpacking to hunt each member from FNI down, Blaze. And again, a different look from them. Normally, they're going to be staying back, playing their positions, but they understand sometimes you have to fight fire with fire. And at this point in time, this round, they won it, but Toti gets to trade on one. And is it going to be enough to alleviate that pressure? Look at how pushed back Fire and Ice is.
Yeah, that was DeToX did a fantastic job. Him and his teammates slayed out, pushing FNI back to the spawn, but he wasn't able to get much more off of that. I believe that he had to flank the Trax kill if he was able to, but it was players coming off the respawn. If they get that kill, then maybe Elevate can sit and have that forward positioning once again. But instead, it's FNI who are the aggressors. They have already picked up 2 kills on the map. DeToX is next on their hit list. They got Demise coming off the respawn, and Elevate is learning how to close out the round from FNI currently, as they had the lead, but in the end, Fire and Ice finds a way to tie this game up. And if you go back towards that free round number 1, man, if that blunder wasn't there, this may be a 4-1 lead for Fire and Ice.
Whew, and it could have been. And think about the situation, how different it could have been. But again, you don't want FNI to get back in the ballgame, and you just allowed them to do that. I like that pressure from Elevate, but Blaze, was that the right call ultimately? Obviously, they do lose the round. Should Elevate have backed off? Was that pressure a bit too overzealous?
You know what? I don't think it was overzealous. I think it was the right play, but they didn't execute fast enough, and that was the big issue there. And when those players start coming up off respawn, a lot of indecisiveness happens. When it comes down to Asylum, some of these fights are so predictable. When you have the 2-to-1 heal advantage, you know what your opponent's going to do, and you know what play they have to make. So the players who know how to use that foresight to the best advantage and make the proper rotations are successful. Just like how we saw Toti the previous round flank around and be able to get that crossfire. And the play we just watched, as I do believe it was Demise pushing through the smoke, knowing that he was going to be able to get a free shot there because it was going to be a player in that specific position.
Little things make a difference, and Dyslexic, talk about little things, picks up a big elimination. Vino and DeToX out of the way. Fire and Ice effectively getting the break. I don't know if these boys are going to slow down. Now they're pulling a little bit of an Elevate strat. Look at the aggression, Blaze, forcing Elevate all the way back. Now they need to be careful here or else they could, again, just like Elevate before, bite up more than they can chew, but Dyslexic picks up an angle, not only on DeToX, but also taking down the newly found member on Elevate of Vino. And that's going to be a round for FNI. They're going to be up 4-3. Elevate in trouble.
Man, Elevate is in trouble. You know, one thing that they have to do if they want to win this map, they got to find a way how to reset. Okay, because we see FNI get some of these kills, and Elevate, they just cannot buy enough time for players to come off respawn and for them to have an impact once again. You know, we saw DeToX capping up his home hill down low, and he presses up on the fight as the player is wrapping around towards statue towards the home hill. Vino's not even able to help him from behind, and then he goes down. They need to buy themselves 10 extra seconds probably for that third guy to come off respawn, and then Fire and Ice will disengage on their own. But they're seeing these looks where they say, "Hey, we got one guy here. I got a teammate close by. He knows that I'm gonna fight, and he knows that he needs to have my back." And they keep staggering Elevate off the respawn, and they just cannot find their footing. But with a Torque Bowl mid map, we'll see if that's enough to shake things up.
It could be. It very well could be. It's a different look after all, right? And that's what Elevate was shooting for. Fire and Ice, though, again, you're getting those close quarter combat fights, and that's where they feel comfortable. I'm actually very surprised FNI doesn't push up as aggressively as they have in the past for that Torque Bow, but I guess they're really focused on this fight currently. When it comes down to tracks, player 4 on Fire and Ice could be the linchpin. That's going to be Fearzly. He could dodge in towards Pavilion, but either way, Toti hits a nice instant onto Demise. That's going to force DeToX in a very bad spot. He's being lancered out. The pressure is real. Front train is also moving in. That's going to isolate him. He is forced to fight, and he's going to drop off. But still, nobody getting their hands on the Torque Bow just yet, but it might be a non-factor. Fire and Ice, they could push for E, but man, Fearzly needs to get out of here.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get out right now, but on the flip end, with that tracks fight being won, Xploidz did find that Torque Bow, and we know he can put this to great use. FNI, they do not have capture of the E-Hill just yet, but with his power weapon in hand, we got to assume that Xploidz, he's going to rotate it up top and look for some of these angles to try to get some picks for his squad here.
Plans to get those picks, and man, that Torque Bow could be so influential, especially when you're looking at the opposite team trying to make a push to capture E. Xploidz will get some splash damage on the player in the corner. Great connection to on Demise. That's going to force Tidy down, which actually I believe the splash damage and Lancer Fire ended up dropping. Watch out though. Xploidz hits the wall trying to connect on the Vino. It doesn't happen. And DeToX, I don't know, a bit of an ill-advised push. You're last alive. In that case, I expect to back off. You got to assume Fire and Ice pushes up, but they're going to do it pretty slowly. They understand, yeah, we have the manpower, but so does Elevate. They're back off the respawn. How does Elevate get out of this spot? Do they just pressure into E as fast as they can?
Well, yeah, they're going to have to, because going from home hill to home hill, that's a lot of time. And then F and I, they'll be able to see that push coming from a mile away. So you want to decapture E as soon as possible. Elevate, they did lose a player there as he tried to entry into the entrance and get the decap on the hill. But as long as they get a decap now, they have a fighting chance. But you see Fire and Ice making great usage of that utility. So they're going to be annoying at the front entrance door. And Elevate, they just see their opportunities dwindling away as you got 4 Fire and Ice members in this side of the map. And there's the incendiary grenade, and they know that Elevate doesn't have much time. They just got to work their numbers, play with some confidence, and they're going to win this map.
Yeah, they're definitely going to win this map. And what is that? 4 in a row? 3 in a row? Something like that. Fire and Ice did not. Is it 4? So they didn't slow down. And Elevate could not find an answer. And it's clear as day to me. Sometimes it's a tale of two halves. And when we entered this second half, round number 5, it was lights out. Fire and Ice did not slow down. They love that pressure fight, and that's something that Elevate and other teams need to take into account if they do end up finding Asylum in the best, or in that pick and ban during the spring major. So hey, good on Fire and Ice. They take the lead 1-0. We've got map number 2 coming up. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to day 9 of the Gears Pro League. Fire and Ice strikes first, taking map number 1, Asylum. 5-3, Elevate's map pick. That leads us into Exhibit map 2, Fire and Ice's map pick, where I feel they're going to be pretty comfortable given those close quarter fights. It was a tale of two halves, quite truthfully. It was a decent lead, 3-1 for Elevate off the first half. Second half, though, Fire and Ice didn't look back. Elevate was countered every way you look at it, Blaze, which is quite disappointing. You know, if Elevate is throwing everything in the kitchen sink at Fire and Ice, and Fire and Ice is not even phased by it and still taking the rounds off of you, that's not a good look for Elevate heading into the spring major. Yeah,
not a good look for Elevate whatsoever. But you see on the flip end, at Fire and Ice, the chemistry is looking good with this team, and it always looks good. As they, doesn't matter who their opponent is, as the map progresses. If you go to a round 9 with F9, you should be scared because these guys, even if they start off cold, they end off pretty hot.
It's true. Well, fire and ice, they got a bit of both worlds, going on there. But, again, teams need to take note. Asylum, second half, Fire and Ice is going to heat up. You definitely need to be ready for that. Toti, instrumental in some of those rounds. I love him pushing up the mid lane just to the right of Pavilion, lancering up top, getting that angle down. Elevate was able to sniff him out the first time, but the second time, he was able to get a couple of downs. And I also like the aggression from Elevate, but again, you're playing into the same wheelhouse where Fire and Ice is comfortable. So that's one of the things they've got to adjust and figure out. As we head into Exhibit Blaze, what are some answers Elevate needs in order to answer back map number 2?
Well, one thing for Elevate, their wolf packing needs to be on point, number 1.
Okay.
Because these guys are going to have to take some big fights and be there to trade out each other's kills. But you have to understand where you are in that engagement, because some players would have great positioning on the map for that present moment, but they're waiting for their main Slayer to come off respawn. They're waiting for another guy to come off respawn for the engagement to start. Now, granted, you do want to wait for help to come, but while help is coming, you need to be able to time that scenario in a way for you to be able to continue to get map positioning if your opponent is giving it to you. But also, you may have to be the first guy to start the fight and then let your main Slayer come up and clean up behind you and do his thing. So we're going to have to see some better synergy on the side of Elevate, some better teamwork. And I want to see them play very aggressive on this map. Go toe-to-toe with F&I, man. If not, I just think Fire and Ice, they got the confidence from map number 1 to really just slay out and have that mental advantage over Elevate. If not, they're going to build one.
You give them that momentum, that confidence. Fire and Ice is tough to shut down. You got to take that momentum away. And if I'm Elevate at this moment, it's round 1. You don't really have much to lose. You already lost map 1. I'm going at them as hard as I can. I really am. And I'm trying to hit them in the mouth as early as possible. Let us know, or let at least Fire and Ice know, look, we need to be taken seriously. You're not just going to run over us. But I'm talking about Elevate doing that. Fire and Ice is doing that. Look at this overextension.
Yeah, F&I, from the start of the game, you saw them send 2 players up top and really just push Vino back. Demise trying to take out Xploidz. Both players missed their back A's, but in the end, it is going to be Demise who wins that fight. No one's going to be close enough to get that revive there. So he's just going to push forward, let the kill take himself. He's going to have to deal with Fearzly on the other end. But as you look at the score, F&I has a 2-to-1 heal advantage. Fearzly, he's not scared of Demise. He's like, bro, you're in my territory, man. This entire top side of the map, he challenges 1v1s and he knows how to fight them anywhere.
He definitely does. He is an opponent you got to take seriously. Sending 2 up top off of round 1. You don't see that too often. Normally it's going to be that 3 down low with the 1v1 up top, but Fire and Ice starting to pull out all the tricks. Again, something teams, especially if they're watching this matchup, need to take into account and be ready for. It's Fire and Ice. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I really am. The confidence is real. Vino, unfortunately, is going to take down Toti, and Toti is going to be out. So not a good look from him, and that was with Lancer Fire. So you got to control that. Demise is having one hell of a time, though, taking down Fearzly, and he finally will blaze.
Yeah, that's a 1v1 fight that can take forever there, but a dog fight between those 2 Slayers. Now, Elevate will be able to get a decap at B and possibly a capture as well. What's beautiful for them is that Demise, he got the decap on a home hill and he pushed down to take forward positioning in that lane rather than just backing up top. He told his player coming off respawn, you pick up that lane. He also knows that if Fire and Ice goes up there, that's about a 6-7 second route of them trying to overextend a map where him and his team knows that they could just take their number advantages down low if they wanted to.
Smart. That is a smart way to look at it. And you hope they're counting numbers, but you mentioned that. I think that's an intelligent play. Elevate, though, they don't do, well, they do it now, but player 8 is going to be their Toti now in a 1v2. Meanwhile, this fight is going to be cleaned up from Fire and Ice relatively with ease. But as you mentioned, Elevate counting numbers. They sent 2 for the overextension, and they're going to counter the advantage Fire and Ice just tried to gather. The score is very close, Blaze, and Elevate has the win condition.
Yeah, not no more. As soon as that decap comes through, it just shifted on over. They get about 10 more seconds on the clock. Beautiful stun. The chump comes through. Perfect timing from Toti. May get a free shot on Xploidz, but no points acquired currently from F&I. This is an Elevate domination as they're going to strike first in map number 1. And I must say, good job to Demise for his pressure up top and his forward thinking to always keep an advantage for his team. And the boys down low, hell, Toti won some big 1v1s in his positioning as well. So good job to Elevate. That was a team effort, but it just gets harder from here.
It definitely does. And you can see how hard Elevate had to play. But either way, a W is a W. I take nothing away from them whatsoever. You know, for currently Demise, you mentioned him, 4-3, 0 deaths. He's playing that top position. Fearzly tried to take him down. It was a long-winded battle. Fearzly, he ended up biting the dust. Demise ended up staying up top. He continues to play like this. He could be an influential factor for Elevate to tie up this series, send it to game 3, and I'm definitely here for it. I want to see the best of Elevate getting this close to Spring Major, and we might be getting there. We got to stay on board with Demise. Let's see if he even can die. Is he human at all?
We'll find out soon. He's got Toti in front of him, got players in his left lane and his right lane, but as Demise is in the hill, he is going to be the focus point. But with pressure from his teammates in both lanes, they are able to get one down, and Demise has some damage on Xploidz, and around here, damage is currency, so he's going to be able to collect on that kill and continue to collect on points for Elevate as they have that 2-to-1 hill advantage. Fearzly trying to do something about that now, and this is where you see some of the best 1v1 players try to take the game over and just force multiple players to focus on them to try to create an opening in a different lane.
I like the fact we're going to get to see a different look from Vino as well. Vino is normally down low fighting in that team engagement. He's kind of taken over the role, and he's talented, quite truthfully. But how is he in the 1v spot? Well, as of right now, it's kind of back and forth. As we talked about, Blaze, it's a very long-winded fight. Fearzly needs to push up Vino. I don't think he's going to. He's just going to stand his ground. But with Elevate losing the neutral down low, maybe there is a chance. But I say that Fire and Ice, though, goes into the blender, at least a couple of them, and a great job holding on, retaking the neutral, and now Fearzly was forced to push up, and he went straight into the Lancer of Vino. Well done from Vino, as well as the rest of the crew from Elevate.
Yeah, that was 4 down on the side of Fire and Ice, but you're not going to see Elevate push towards the spawn just yet. Instead, they're counting numbers, because if they can get the early identification of where majority of the forces are, they can stack their numbers properly. So they get the call out that 2 is up top. But does Elevate want to push the lower lanes, or do they want to back up and turtle on their home hill? Currently, they're turtling up on a home hill. We'll see how long they can hold the B hill, because I think that's what's most important.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be the most important aspect here. I don't want to see Elevate turtle up, park the bus on their home hill, but they parked it. They absolutely did, all right? They're on an uphill battle. They turned the wheel to the right, and they got the emergency parking brake down, but man, did they do a good job. I mean, dude, they took out 3 members from F&I, completely stopped them. And you know what? That top fight is totally shut down. Elevate is not allowing Fire and Ice to get through. They did round number 1 off the start, but ever since then, Fire and Ice doesn't have that opportunity. So now they're forced to beat that fight in the middle, that big 3v3, and they have no other option. That's their only breakthrough.
They're sticking to their guns, you know. When it comes down to that fight up top, Vino's playing it passively. He knows he has an aggressive opponent in Fearzly, so he's just playing his right-hand advantage very, very well. Now, when it comes down to Exhibit, you want to be able to win this map because of your team fight down low in the lower lanes, you know? Occasionally you're going to get a superstar like Enzum or Fearzly, if he's going to be one with Fire and Ice in this moment, that will turn up and be able to make that up top 1v1 engagement, have such control over it where it influences the fight down low and it makes it easier for his team. But as far as the basics go, Elevate is doing that very, very well, and Demise is having a field day when it comes down to controlling his B hill. He has a lot of help with his teammates. They're being aggressive in their 1v1s as well.
Get on board with Demise. Demise hasn't died yet. 7-7, no deaths across these first 2 rounds. Again, Demise playing so well up top. Huge influential factor here. He continues to play this way. Fire and Ice is not going to have a chance. But is it the final? He's going to get picked up from the DeToX. The dream is still alive to have a flawless map.
Yeah, it feels good when your teammates, they're looking out for you, making sure you don't go down, making sure that you can have a perfect map. They're going to play off that energy and try to keep on going as they continue to shoot for each other. And Demise returns the favor and says, don't worry, DeToX, I got your back as well. As you're going to see Elevate try to play up for the trip cap domination. Demise going to win the 1v1 to try to have a perfect 3 rounds. But will Elevate crumble in this moment? Do they give Fire and Ice an opportunity to come back in this round number 3, or can they close it out? Oh, that was a big fight that was lost there. Tidy knows he's by himself. Good job using the pillars to dodge shots from the players coming off the respawn, but in the end, Fire and Ice will get another opportunity at coming back into this round.
Definitely will. Maybe down about 50 or so points, but Vino's not going to be enough. Well, Demise too, to be able to try and keep Fire and Ice. So at this point, it's all about a retake. That's going to be your opportunity to make it happen. And Fearzly taking down Demise and Vino. DeToX is also down. That Lancer fire is brutal. Team pickups will come through, but that's going to make Elevate think twice about pushing up. Well, I say that as they continue to go. Xploidz is getting a lot of pressure onto him, and Vino turns around. Great read to take down Dyslexic. He's going to try to force the 2v1. Now turns around on the Toti. Vino, well done. That's going to be 3 down from F and I, and Elevate needed to retake control, especially being this close to the 250 mark, and they will.
Man, this man get a little bit of camera time, don't even know how to act. All right, coming out with double kills, trying to make sure he uses it wisely there. So beautiful kills from Vino. Elevate is in a great position. B-Hill's getting decapped, but we are in a late game, and we saw how strong that emergency break was when they parked the bus last round. And now it gets a little bit better as we just have to defend in a 4v3 situation, now a 4v2 situation for the late game. This is looking good for Elevate to go up 3-0.
Oh my, hold on. Look, you got to see Xploidz. I know it's not going to amount to anything. He doesn't find a victim, but I'm just
try to earn $5.
I was about to say the same. He's trying to earn that $5 from Colin. He knows money's on the line, all right? Not just tonight, but Colin's bankroll. He's trying to take it all, but it doesn't happen. 3-0 lead for Elevate plays. This is incredible.
Nah, this is looking great. This is looking beautiful for Elevate. Because this is a map in which I felt like F&I was gonna have it easy on, but instead, Elevate's doing a good job contesting in their lanes. They're not backing down from fights, and their engagements seem to be a little bit simpler on this map than it is on Asylum, because we know on Asylum, when it comes down to the second half fighting that entrance, you need to have chemistry, you need to have teamwork, you need to have great timing with those utility grenades and the back and forth of contesting that entrance door and making sure you can decap that hill. It's a little bit simpler right now in Exhibit, and we see the teams with usually the best slayers come out on top, but they come out on top because the lanes are so simplistic. Now, Elevate, they're using that simplicity to their advantage, and this is not complicated. They're all doing a fantastic job.
Quite truthfully are. Now, let's not forget Elevate. Asylum just before had that 3-1 lead. Okay, they had 3 rounds only to crumble and allow Fire and Ice to win 4 straight. So that is going to be something that could be weighing on their mind. I'm expecting it not to, but you can already tell Fire and Ice, round number 4, last round of the first half, not like it really changes anything going into the second, but they had a great down low presence. But Elevate is answering back. They're starting to take 1 by 1 down from the Fire and Ice boys. This is one thing Elevate's been doing a good job to their credit plays. Their retake power has been on point, and that's because their teamwork has been on point. That's something we expect from Elevate, and it is encouraging to see that with the change such as Vino being added to the roster, you're saying he doesn't know how to act when the camera's on him. Man, they are looking good, but Fire and Ice looking a little bit better this round than the previous ones.
Yeah, that was a great team fight for him. Beautiful wrap shot from Toti, staying alive there in the middle. Vino, Demise trying to back up. Demise gets caught out. Vino pulls out the lantern, may try to go on a world tour from home hill to home hill up top, just to apply that pressure. We can kind of see that he is going to be doing just that. Xploidz knew that he would have had to back up and defend against them. But they have a lane. They have an out from not being trapped into their spawn. Beautiful wrap shot from Vino. He's told his teammate that this is a 2v1. We need to take this now. And they do a fantastic job cleaning up that kill. At this point, you know you got 2 players staggered off the respawn. Home hill isn't captured on the other side of the map just yet. You see that 3rd player back up and Elevate's working hard at making sure to get their home hill capped up and the B hill capped up, and they don't overstay their welcome on their opponent's side of the map.
So Elevate's going to try and come back. I don't think the 2-1's going to be enough. Fire and Ice has too good of a lead, and yeah, you can already tell Fire and Ice still has that win condition. So this isn't going to be an easy round by any means for Elevate to take. But getting Bravo and Charlie does make life a little bit easier. Tidy's going to pick up that retro. And DeToX, I think, just needs to keep at this point, Toti in check at the top spots. And if he can do that, keep him out of play, even though you're taking one out of play for Elevate, it could work. Elevate's got to make this push for the home hill. Fire and Ice knows this. They park the bus. 30 seconds remain. Can Elevate make it happen?
We're about to find out right now. Fire and Ice exactly where they want to be. Elevate, they throw some flashes. 2 players in the top lane, 2 players down low, but you need to be close enough to get the revives in a low lane. It will be one for Fire and Ice, and that's all 4 kills being wiped off the map there for Elevate. That's F&I round number 1. Now, Taylor, I will say I love Fire and Ice's defense there in that scenario, but when it comes down to Elevate retaking that home hill, I would have probably loved to see them just have faith in the 1v1 up top. Let 3 players go down low. You need to have a 3-man lane. The reason why I say you need to have a 3-man lane, because somebody's going to get down.
Sure.
And as that revive comes through, one player on your in that push is going to have an opportunity to make a play. Sometimes it works out like that, but I feel like that is the best chance. You saw right there as you saw 2 players in each lane. The downs happen,
yeah,
but the revives had to come through, and at that point it was just focus fire because you got 2 players stacked up together. Just get the Lancers out, hit that active, and let 160 bullets fly.
Hey, so you're saying you wished Elevate would have sent that 1 player up top, to kind of open up the lane.
I wish they would have sent them down low. They had 2
down low.
Up top. I just wish they would have sent 3 down low.
Fair enough. Gotcha. Okay, so hey, DeToX, I want to point him out, by the way. 15 and 7, 7 deaths. He's been taking the reins, the highest KDA currently in the lobby across the board, whether it be for Elevate or Fire and Ice. We'll keep our eyes out for him. When you're pulling off 15 eliminations like that and you're leading the charge over your enemy team, DeToX is playing a huge role in those big team fights being down low. And that's something Fire and Ice has to put in check. The only thing does that, Vino really just kind of playing with his food at this point against Fearzly on the other side. Nobody wanting to make the move. And, we see this so many times, this big standoff. If there's a fight down low, let's say Fire and Ice is taking it, Vino probably goes for it. All right, Fearzly then challenges him and takes him down. But with nothing happening down low, you don't really need to push the top fight.
Yeah, you don't need to push it just yet. If your teammates, just let them talk it out. You get some aggression up top, you take your 1v1, but you still made it towards the end, especially if you're going to be the call team or the swarm squad until you get a good look. Now, on the flip end, it's F&I who is the team that's down by 2 rounds. So they're trying to find any opportunity to get momentum back in their favor. Coming off the last round, so far, so good. They got 1 on the board, but they need 2 more to get this one all tied up. And I will say that this is one of their better maps, probably a top 2 map for Fire and Ice. So even though they're down, that doesn't mean that they're completely uncomfortable and they don't have a game plan to get back in this one. You see Vino being very passive down low, dyslexic. He's gonna back up, tosses his flash, but he sees that his teammates won their engagement, so he knew that, even though he pushed all the way across the map, he just had to back up and let a squad hold what they had.
So with Fire and Ice having the 2-1, it's not uncharacteristic for them to continue to pressure up, try to finish off the round early on. Vino, good read on Dyslexic. He's going to take him out. That's 1 less player Elevate now has to deal with. But now you do have Fire and Ice throwing out the utility. They don't decide to pressure up, but it's not going to stop Elevate. Demise pushes up hard to Fearzly and Toti. I don't know if that was ill-advised or not, but it seems as if Fire and Ice did a good job baiting them out. And maybe he was being used as bait overall, even though he ends up dying. They got a lot of value taking down those members from Fire and Ice. That's going to net Elevate a little bit more of a lead, forcing Fire and Ice to make some desperation move. Dyslexic up top, he might go for the overextension, but one thing is for certain, whatever Fire and Ice decides to do next, Blaze, it's going to be all or nothing.
It is going to be all or nothing. They do not want to be down 4-1. E-Hill is being fought for, but we see 2 kills come through for Elevate. Vino's playing his 1v1 a little bit passively, just trying to get some shots in with that right hand. Ultimately, Dyslexic will win, but in the end, it's going to be an Elevate round. So good job. It was the lower lane, which was the win condition for Elevate, and those 2 kills that came through. And so far, they have a commanding lead. And this could be 5-0. the round that Fire and Ice won, Elevate, I do believe that they had the lead in that one before they were trip cap dominated. Let's see how they close. Let's see how they close this one out. So far, it's looking like we're going to see District.
It definitely is looking like District. I don't foresee Fire and Ice getting back into this. There's just a lot's going wrong for them. You know, they're retaking the neutral every once in a while. Fine, fair enough, but they're not winning the top fight. Even when they do take over the neutral, Elevate has a great game plan to get the break. Again, DeToX being so instrumental for that. He's having a standout game, 17-8, 7 deaths. His stats are incredible. You look across the board for Fire and Ice, everybody dead even with 6 eliminations each. It's not going to win you the map, no matter how good or how impactful you think you're being. This is a slay heavy map. You have to slay out here. You have to at least get the neutral, and Elevate's pretty consistently off the rip has been getting the 2-1. So Fire and Ice, this is time to step it up. You need to win 4 straight rounds to close the series out 2-0, or else you're going to be forced to fight on District.
So we're seeing a battle, a shot grenade versus an incendiary grenade. Demise having that incendiary grenade. Toti having a shot grenade down low. I'm pretty sure those nades will have a big impact. Vino being aggressive against Fearzly, goes in for the one shot, but Fearzly, he knew that he tagged him up with the first one. He just needs to hit a half decent spread on the second one to get the kill. So now he'll have free roam up top. But with just one kill coming through, you see how these players down low have to automatically disengage, because you got to respect that flank coming through and just the angles he can get with that Lancer from up top.
All right, so Fire and Ice put themselves in a great spot. You can already tell what their game plan is, Blaze. They're going to push up and, again, try to go for the domination. This has not worked out for them, but that elimination onto Demise, Xploidz absolutely clotheslines that man. Vino tries to even up the odds. Not going to happen. And Fire and Ice now going in for the domination, as we knew what was going to occur. The shock is going to help out. You just got to get DeToX out of here, but DeToX is putting up one hell of a fight. Xploidz now is going to be by himself. He does have help from the flank. That's dyslexic. Vino last one alive, and he's not going to get close enough. Fire and Ice wins a quick round in a way of the domination, brings it 4-2.
I gotta say, man, I felt like Demise got robbed. I felt like that incendiary grenade should have been an insta kill, but instead that player ran right through the flames and got a chunk. The way he stopped moving, he was just, I could tell he was confused at home. Like, what? I didn't hit that one.
Controller down, done with the fight. Take me out.
Yeah, that round was over. Now, luckily for him, that Elevate had a 4-round lead. Currently, a 3-round lead. Currently a 2. We're gonna see the incendiary grenades and shot grenades be matched on both sides of the map in different locations, but each squad will have equal opportunity at the utility to be impactful in this fight. And it's looking like F&I is coming out with a better strategy. They're gonna get to their lanes first, as you see. As you see Elevate just kind of take their time deciding what this initial is gonna be. Good dodge from Demise. That was a great dodge. Incendiary grenade.
Yeah, that was a great dodge. Demise, if he gets eliminated there, you already know Fire and Ice is pushing up the E. There's no Lancer presence, maybe from the sides, but overall, they have too much of an advantage. I like that Fearzly is trying to take matters into his own hands. He's not waiting for that bottom fight to go either which. I don't know what happened there. Gets a little bit
just
stuck.
A mishap, just a movement mishap. He goes for the wrap shot, and he tried to cut back, but he ran into a wall. His angle was just off, and Vino capitalizes off of him. And he's been capitalizing off of rounds 1v1s just like that against Fearzly all game, because Fearzly feels like he needs to take this game over, and he feels like he's a better player than Vino, just not showing it.
That's a big thing. I think Fire and Ice, though, falls into that wheelhouse a lot of times. I witness it on E-Days. I witness it in some of their Pro League matches. There's nothing wrong being a competitor, thinking that you're better than somebody else, quite truthfully, but you don't want that ego to get the best of you. And in that case, maybe takes Vino a little bit more seriously, but you said it's an easy mistake, simple mistake, and maybe he won't be making it again. Fire and Ice is looking to answer back, and this is going to be an answer back. Tidy. He's angled out. He's gone. That's 3 out of the way. Vino last alive. Now he's gone, actually. That's a 4 down. Fire and Ice is going to win this round.
Oh, wow. F&I winning all their individual 1v1s, winning the team fight down low. Worked out perfectly for them. And I will say this, Taylor, that when it comes down to the best Gears of War players I've had the pleasure of meeting and playing against over my career, they've all had egos, okay? To be
well, you need one a little bit.
Player, you need a little bit of an ego. You truly do, because you can't give your opponent too much respect, but you also have to have confidence in yourself that you know what the perfect play is going to be and that you can execute on that. And as long as you, you know, have that type of mantra and you can, hey, what's the perfect play? What's my position in it? Let me execute. Let me get map control. I don't care who I'm playing against because my squad is the best. That's going to give you a leg up in some way against your opponent. If not, really might let you topple over them, because I've played against some passive squads and we've seen passive teams play and they just can't do anything. They just can't find openings.
I think too passive is not the way to play. I mean, across the board, challengers, you know, pro league, majors, you can't play passive. You do have to have that confidence, and an ego is a good thing. I just fear that sometimes the ego can be too big and then you don't take your opponent seriously. You make some ill-advised pushes, you get overly aggressive, and over-aggression isn't the play to make, because before you know it, now you're a man down. And that overconfidence is the thing that I want Fire and Ice to kind of taper off. But I like the comeback. Elevate. They got to close it out. Now, I don't know if this is a mental thing. I don't know if Fire and Ice is really changing anything up. You mentioned they're taking the mid battle a little bit differently, but what's going on with Elevate? Why is Fire and Ice all of a sudden looking so good?
You know, when you have a lead, sometimes that'll make the squad play a little bit more passively. Elevate got really comfortable having that 4-1 lead, and it seems like they were in a mindset like, all right, well, we didn't get it this round, we'll get it the next round, or we'll get it the one after this. But you see Fire and Ice, they win those battles, they do not stop.
Wow.
This is what I mean, how Fire and Ice gets better as the map continues. You go to a round 9 against them, you should be scared. Elevate was in a position of 5-0 them. Now they've let 3 rounds slip by and momentum has completely shifted in Fire and Ice's favor. This is a big test for Elevate. We're coming up to the major week. They're going to be in scenarios just like this. How do they come out of it? What do they do? How do they stay composed? I know Fearzly going to be aggressive up top, but that Marksa may be in a top lane. And if it is in a top lane,
it's in top, yeah.
Yeah, I know that weapon is,
and frags.
Is going to cause some issues.
Okay, yeah, well, exactly. Whoever gets that Marksa is just going to have so much an advantage, because not only are they going to get the Marksa up top, they're going to be able to pepper shots down low, Blaze, and that's not going to make the life easy, whether it be for Elevate or Fire and Ice, depending on who gets it. The frags are going to be an interesting one as well. We don't see a Marksa and frags placed at the same time too often, so this is going to be a fresh look here on Exhibit in the Pro League. And I mean, what a better time than now, being so close this week and being the Spring Major. We might as well start seeing these fresh looks. This is what you could be expecting heading in to the Spring Major. But for Elevate, personally, I want to see them win this round. And the reason why, they need to win this round, or else this being this close to victory, having such a lead and being shut down by Fire and Ice in the way that they could be right now, Blaze, that's going to be a huge mental hurdle that's going to hurt them heading into the Spring Major.
Yeah, and I don't know how good their hops are going to be, Taylor, but I will tell you one thing, that Toti mid-map doing a fantastic job dodging these frag grenades, taking 2v1s with his teammate. We just watched him take 2 of them there, looking like they want to get a third, but they focused on capturing the hill first, playing their life. I like this, because if DeToX wants to go in and try to get a decap at E, as he is currently, this is a prime opportunity for a pinch to be made. And you see the nades are being taken out as well. Fire and Ice know that they have 1 nade. They're just going to set up and wait for Elevate to make the next move. And Elevate,
okay,
they're gonna lose Vino up top. So the marks are going in the hand of Fearzly. Fire and Ice is right where they want to be. Elevate, it's going to be difficult for them to turn this around.
But I believe DeToX is going to be on the flank of 1. He's going to knock down Toti. He's going to force the 1v onto who's that going to be? Player 9, I believe. Fearzly, potentially, but Fearzly is just going to be just to the side. And again, DeToX now being in this position could take down Fearzly. That would be great to do. Get that Marksa out of the way. Look at the 2 shots he hits on Demise. Demise isn't moving there. Gets the down onto DeToX. He's going to be picked back up, but every down you get, you're going to be in trouble. Fearzly forced to back up. Elevate, despite that pressure from Fearzly, is still able to get the decap onto E, and that's going to keep Fire and Ice within 3 points of... Oh, no, Fearzly with the mismantle! Oh!
No, he got juked. You got to give Demise respect for that one. He juked the hell out of Fearzly right there. Sometimes your movement will just win you a battle, but now he has to use his movement to get out and dodge, and takes little damage. His teammate in a 1v1 across, Vino, chases down Dyslexic. He's going to back up and try to play his life, because he knows that his team just needs 1 heal. With his back turned towards his opponent, he gets hunted down. Xploidz, he may overstay his welcome. With a flash in hand, he feels confident as the support of a teammate, but now he's trapped between 3 players.
So things are looking up for Elevate, at least for now. They will take the neutral, the 2-1 win condition back in their favor. 30 seconds, they take the victory. Fire and Ice, once again, now in a spot that they found themselves in plenty of times earlier in this map, where they have to make a perfect push. If they end up falling, any of the members making this comeback just isn't going to be possible. Taking this decap, though, getting Demise out of here, that's going to be huge, at least even up the odds, and Fire and Ice could do it. That's going to be Demise out of the way. DeToX is going to be finished off from the instant from Xploidz. Vino, though, popping off, takes down Dyslexic. Xploidz as well. Can he also get Toti? Toti's forced to dance around. The decap's still in. Fire and Ice gets the neutral, but you're going to see the COG team win it and Elevate, even though things were looking shaky, and they were shaky. They still win the one that matters. Round number 9. We're going to game 3.
Yes, we are going to game 3. Elevate, it was looking scary for him over those last 4 rounds, but in the late game of round number 9, they find a way to stay composed. Just off the back of that man right there, DeToX, 23 kills, 10 assists, 14 deaths. He did a good job not allowing Fire and Ice to build up that lead in that final round with the frag grenades and the marks. Took initiative with Tidy, pushed the lanes, got kills, got the man advantage. And they just knew that they had to slay out for about a minute in that final round for them to have a chance at winning that map.
And give credit to Vino. Vino had some pretty good standout plays, especially when it mattered most, keeping the neutral in favor of the boys of Elevate, picking up Dyslexic, picking up Xploidz, and I think he was just about to pick up Toti, and either he did pick up Toti or maybe there wasn't enough time, but he played very, very well. But I agree with you. DeToX was so influential in that 3v3 fight down low. Demise in the first half, also got to give him credit. He didn't die in the first 2 rounds, and even in round number 3, we were pretty deep into that round, Blaze, before he finally died once. And those early critical rounds, even though Fire and Ice wins a couple, brings it to round 9, those early rounds gave the advantage and gave the opportunity for Elevate to win in round 9. So hats off to Demise in the early rounds, but DeToX, yeah, he takes the cake.
Yeah, you know, he played fantastically in the early game, but it was a team effort from Elevate. And that's exactly what they needed to win this one. They stayed composed in the late game, because I swear, if I was in their shoes, I would have been shaking in that round number 9, having to deal with F&I. After winning the 3 rounds before in the fashion in which they did, it was quick. It was off the initial. They were about 40-second rounds. Now, luckily enough for the Elevate fans, that their team, man, they were composed. They were gathering information round by round. They came up with a perfect strategy in the end.
But I like the fact that we see Elevate throw some new looks out there. They were aggressive, they were passive, but more importantly, I love their, at least them taking a chance off the rip, fighting fire with fire, and you know, ultimately winning the engagements early on to take the 2-1. That was a great look from them. Something we kind of seen a little bit, got a glimpse of on Asylum, but ultimately we know how that ended up going. But now we're going to map 3, Blaze. We're going to District. Fire and Ice is a pretty decent District team. They like this map. Elevate, they're not too bad either when it comes to District. We'll see how Vino's going to perform on this roster specifically with this map. But who do you think has the leg up at this point in time?
Ooh, the team that I think has the leg up at this point in time, I still have to lean towards Fire and Ice as we go towards District. If I do recall correctly, I think they did win this map in around number 9. It was whoever their opponent was last week. They went to District, and within it was E United. Actually, I believe it was E United, and just saw the M-bar go up top. A round or so later, you saw the sniper go down low. It forced these centerline engagements at the cinema, at bandstand. F&I knew that they can come out with at least one of those power weapons and then play around that, and it worked out for them. But we know that that's not the first strategy that they go to.
That's right.
After round number 1, they'll put the snipe down, and it's a 3-man fight at cinema. And if you don't want to fight that, they know how to get a different look out of you with the next weapon placement that fits their squad. So Elevate here is going to have to be very adaptable to Fire and Ice if they want to come out victorious in this map number 3. And with this roster being as new as it is, I don't know how quick those adaptations can come through during this map.
You bringing back memories. Were we casting that match? I'm trying to think. Did we cast the Fire and Ice?
Yeah, we cast it last week.
And we were kind of memeing at the start because the first 3 rounds were dominated from E United. And if I remember correctly, second round Embar's place, third round the Long Shot's place. Fire and Ice didn't even start building their secondary weapons until like round number 4, if I'm not mistaken. And we were like,
but they found a way to win it.
But they found a way. That was the thing. We were memeing them.
That's the key to them. That's like their passive ability. They will find a way. Okay. You give them more rounds, they will heat up.
Sure.
All right. And slay out on anyone. Just, you can't give these boys time to think.
Well, so that's the thing. Do we see the same thing? Was that just a specific E United strategy? Do they, throw that out there for Elevate? Is this something that's going to be a common occurrence for Fire and Ice on District? Rise, they stay pretty consistent. Now, I'm not a fan of it, but they stay consistent on Asylum, placing something on entrance, normally round 2, or at least at some point. I've seen them lose 3 times with that strategy, but at least they do it consistently. Will Fire and Ice be changing up the mold? And round 2, instead of building up the secondaries, they just create chaos. Embar, Long Shot. I don't know if it's a common thing, but it did work against E United. Surely it can work against Elevate, because I put E United as a better team than Elevate at this point.
Yeah, surely it should. And E United, when it came down to it, they had standard weapon placements. They went for their secondaries. They played around what Fire and Ice did, and they tried to get advantages off of it that way. If you do see those centerline power weapons, it's all because F&I, that's what they want to do. That's what they're trying to set up on a map. Those are initiations that they want to take there. So it's how Elevate is going to be adaptable around them. But when it comes down to weapon placements and centerline placements off the start, we know how squads can find advantages in the later rounds if they just stick to their guns, building up their secondaries. At this level of gameplay, F&I, and especially on a map like District, when you get 2 centerline power weapons, you negate anyone kind of picking up secondaries, because if they do, and F&I sees that in the kill feed, that information feed that you did that, they know that they have a numbers advantage when it comes down to centerline power weapons. They're going to pick it up, back up, and then get their secondary weapons. And at that point, you don't have anything to work with. So that's a good way to counter some strategies on District for some of these squads. And F&I, they're thinking outside the box, and we'll see how far they need to be outside the box to beat Elevate.
So something E United did to kind of counteract the instead of just forcing the fights for the power weapons last week for the Embar and Long Shot, they were, if you remember correctly, they were prioritizing getting the neutral off the rip. That was kind of their game plan, and it did work for the first 3 rounds. But then those power weapons started to heat up, play a tremendous impact, and Fire and Ice was able to retake that neutral just as quickly as the United was able to gain it. Is that something maybe we see Elevate do? Does Elevate prioritize the neutral instead of the power weapon fights? Because even though we have a standout game on exhibit from DeToX and Demise, I'm not so sure they can win a full 4-4 battle, 3-3 head-on battle for a power weapon on District. I'm really not. Because again, if Fire and Ice can beat E United, they can beat Elevate.
Yeah, 100% right. And so, as you said, the E United, they favored the neutral most of those rounds. And, when it's 2 centerline power weapons down, it's always going to be a power weapon next to that neutral hill. Also, as well, you can send 3 players towards one side of the map. Your opponent's counting numbers, they'll give you a weapon for free. Some engagement. So you will have an opportunity to trade out if that happens. And if you have been building up your secondaries, it got some utility to work with as well. So there are several different ways in which you can kind of counter around having too many objectives mid-map, but it just comes down to what happens. We're prophesizing, and we're trying to have a lot of foresight on what's going to happen on this map, but we've seen a lot of different looks on Fire and Ice when it comes down to the weapon placements. We know what type of engagements they like, and on the flip end, this Elevate team, as we are learning more about this new look roster, I'm not sure if they're going to be comfortable in that three-man fight when it comes down to top cinema. Or would they rather just have the 1v1s in the lane and let DeToX go play his guy in a solo lane, maybe up top cinema?
That's right.
He's going to be one of the strongest factors in that fight when it comes down to those 3-1 engagements at cinema, which I do think we're going to see maybe earlier in the map than we think. He's going to have a big impact, and his teammates are going to have to follow up behind him.
And I think Vino could have a tremendous impact off the initials as well. He's been doing a great job in the big team fights. And I must say, I am impressed with his ability to get better and better in just a few short weeks that he's been playing with this roster. I was already impressed with him on Hayabusa Black during the Challenger days before he transitioned over towards the Pro League. I knew he was an incredible player, much like that of Bronny, who, you know, is playing just alongside him. So I have full faith Vino can also play a tremendous impact. You pair him with DeToX, which we've already seen as of now, even just earlier. It makes a pretty much unstoppable combination, at least in terms of what Elevate can bring to the table. Fire and Ice, though, you did mention one thing that's very important to take note of. They are unpredictable. They do throw some random things out there. The way they play is sometimes not the way they played even just the night before, right? They're always doing something different. It's hard to get a read on them. Elevate, I'm sure they are going to be able to do so. Hopefully they do it fast enough and can figure it out early on. I'm curious to see, though, how that mid battle is going to go. We've been seeing a lot of midline presence for Fire and Ice. Is Elevate going to be able to bring that same intensity in the mid battle?
Hey, I'll tell you one thing, man. Fire and Ice, they're unpredictable like fire, but they're very adaptable like ice, okay? So they find a way. So it depends on whichever side you get.
Mr. Miyagi. Wax on, wax off.
Well, we got plenty of time here to fill time as we are waiting for Vino, and I think he is going to be back. So we'll be getting this match started up soon. But honestly, that describes Fire and Ice perfectly. Unpredictable like flames, adaptable like ice, man. These guys, we've seen them. I talked about it when it came down to Exhibit. As these rounds go on, they will figure out ways to beat you. They will figure out lanes where they have an advantage. Even if it's just one player can feel the confidence that he has against the player that he's matched up with. Because every single map, these players know who their guy is, who they're accountable for, who's in the opposite spawn of them. When it comes down to Gears of War initials, it's all about timing. So who's in the first spawn, second spawn, third spawn, and fourth spawn matters. These players know who's going to be in those 2v2 engagements, the 3-1 engagements, who their guy is. Now, if they can figure out how to outplay their guy, even in a grand scheme of some of these team fights where you have shot grenades, flash grenades, and seeing smokes, and the whole just the whole kitchen sink thrown at you, there are still opportunities to figure out a way how you outplay your guy. Even if you throw your flash better than him, that can still impact the team fight.
We'll say I've never had the pleasure of being hit by a kitchen sink, but I don't want to be hit with that kitchen sink. All right, so I'm trying to find an answer.
If you ever play Asylum in the second half, it's kind of similar.
Okay, fair enough. Right. Well, let's go ahead and get it going. We talked about that pressure from Fire and Ice, but we also talked about Demise playing so incredibly well just earlier, and I think he's being joined by DeToX. So you have two of the top slayers, at least from the last map, playing together, but Fearzly is answering back. And I believe Demise is being Lancered. Who's that? Yeah, it's going to be player number 3, Dyslexic. Dyslexic playing mid is a scary thing for Elevate, at least for me, but a bit of a misroll from Fearzly. That's not the first time we've seen him make a misinput.
Yeah, no, it's not the first time indeed. Sometimes just playing a little bit too fast for his thumbs to keep up, or thinking too fast for his thumbs to keep up. Regardless, you see Elevate with 2 hills to their name. Player 9 pushing up through the spine. He's in a 1v1 against Toti. He may have figured out that he overstayed his welcome, and Toti gets taken out by his old duo and Toti.
Old duo match up against each other. Sometimes you just gotta take them out. You gotta let them know. Check it out, man. The old is old. I'm hitting with the new. Now let's see if you can hang with the best of them. Look at that battle, though, for Vino. Unfortunately taken down from Dyslexic, and Fire and Ice starts to gather a foothold. Finally, well, I say that. Look, you got an OE. Xploidz needs to win this engagement. He's going to clean up one. That's going to be Demise. And Fire and Ice will finally, as I was just saying, gain a foothold. They're down a considerable number of points, but this is where Elevate could find themselves in a cumbersome spot. The pressure from Fire and Ice is real. My only concern, I don't want them to overextend and overstay their welcome. For player 3, he is finally going to be joined by Xploidz, but for some time he was by himself.
Yeah, but he had that Lancer in hand. He knew his opponent wasn't going to push him because Elevate just wanted to keep control of their home hill, wait for players to come off respawn. Now, Elevate, they're going to choose to go home hill to home hill. and make the play, which Fire and Ice may have not been able to predict. It's the uncommon play because the common one is going for the B hill up top. Now, Xploidz, I will say, he's doing a good job putting out damage and staying alive. As he was running away, trading shots, manages to get a kill, calls out Vino, and they're in a position to take a 2v1, but he needs to play off this right hand, and he will be able to do so. He even gets a little help from Dyslexic across the map. They take out the remaining Elevate member, and it's a 2v2 fight on a home hill for the round.
Oh, Toti needed that touch, and he doesn't get it. And again, I was worried about Elevate in that round. When Fire and Ice started gaining that momentum, things were looking a bit scary for Elevate. They try to make a break, but it doesn't happen. And you see the end result is a pretty successful round for Fire and Ice. Just seen at least a glimpse of that scoreboard. And a lot of ones across the board for Elevate, but for Fire and Ice, a lot healthier. And again, that comes down to that slaying power. And Elevate needs to find an answer for Dyslexic at mid. He was able, even though Fearzly makes that misroll, let's say he doesn't make the misroll. That pressure from Dyslexic with the Lancer Fire and the bandstand, if Fearzly pushes up, he knows that player is weak. He's going to get the chunk. Ultimately, there's your scoreboard. Elevate across the board, all at one, but a lot of deaths. And Dyslexic, I just pointed him out, 3 and 3, 0 deaths for his name. So he's looking to pull off a little bit of a demise from last round or last map.
Yeah, and he's going to be playing the same tune at bandstand every single round. He takes ownership on this side of the map. Him and Xploidz. Xploidz comes out with that double. Dyslexic, actually here, he's going to be playing info. He gets the kill on the player that hops Juice. And so far, so good for him and his squad as they're looking to capture up this V-Hill. Tidy's left standing. F&I looking to take a quick round number 2. And with the Lancer Fire, the support that's there, kills don't come through. And I think Elevate will survive this battle because Vino takes out a player who was in Juice. And now his squad will be able to overextend towards that home hill and gain some more map control.
All right, so Toti's going to have a little bit of pressure. You got player 3 off the respawn. Dyslexic finally dies, and I think player 7 is just going to be happy and content with the decap. Fair enough, he understands. There's going to be too many players of Fire and Ice off the respawn. I'm going to back up. I can have more value playing defensively and lancering out. So Elevate, even though shaky start, they put themselves in a good spot to potentially capture that lead back, close that deficit out. Fire and Ice now is going to be the ones who are going to have to respond. Their retake potential has been great. We witnessed that from round number 1. Can it occur once again? For Elevate, they're across the map. They got all lanes locked down. Fire and Ice can't go anywhere without getting peppered with shots, whether it be the Bolt Talk from DeToX or Lancer Fire from the others.
Yeah, and good focus fire there from DeToX and his teammate of Demise there playing Juice. Like you said, all lanes covered, and with them being covered in the intel they have, with them picking up that kill, they know where they can press up. They know what they can get away with, so they will be able to get the neutral hill. Help is there. Vino, beautiful back bounce, slide across the wall, getting out that one-shot range to be able to take out that player. Now Elevate looking to lock in their first round of this map, but can they do it? Players coming out respawn for F&I, and they will be able to hold.
That can't happen. That is the second time I've seen Elevate try to overcommit, get the domination, only to be absolutely wiped out from Fire and Ice. The first time was, what, round 4, round 5? I think it was actually round 5 or 6 on Asylum earlier. Remember, they pushed through entrance. They tried to go in for the domination. Fire and Ice countered them. They felt comfortable. And that was much the same situation here. And now Elevate, they had the lead. They had the advantage. But now Fire and Ice is in the winning spot, and Elevate's forced to make a desperation move.
I also want to say, I don't feel like they overcommitted. I feel like they made the perfect play. They just didn't execute properly, and that's on them for it, because those are the type of plays that you're going to have to make in the major. But if you miss shots and you don't shoot for each other,
sure,
that's poor execution at the end of the day. Now, F&I with 1 heal needed, 10 seconds on the clock. That's a beautiful first down. That's a beautiful second kill coming out, second shot coming out for the kill. Fire and Ice, they lock in round number 2.
And I agree with you, Blaze. It wasn't an overcommitment per se. And I don't know if I said that exactly, but I think the point that I'm getting at is much like on Asylum to here, Elevate tries to make that play, and Fire and Ice counters them. That's my biggest thing. Fire and Ice is doing a really good job at countering what Elevate is throwing at them, and that's my concern, because Elevate is making the perfect plays, making the right plays, even though they're a bit shaky in their execution at times. They're still making the right and proper plays, but they're not getting anywhere because Fire and Ice is countering them so effectively.
Yeah. One team having the better execution. When it comes down to being a champion this weekend, there are certain plays that you have to take, right? There's a play style, there's a flow of the map that you're going to have to respect. You're going to have to find your ways to get around like certain initials like this 3-1 here that we're about to see at Cinema. And for those squads that can execute properly, they're going to find some big advantages. But I think the one thing that players need to understand that will hurt them the most if they lose the tournament is not trying to execute the proper play and feeling like you never had a leg up in a series whatsoever.
Ooh, Dyslexic takes down DeToX. He's not going to stop there. He knows Demise is weak. He knows Elevate is on the run. Vino needs to pepper these shots, force them back. But even so, Fearzly did... Oh, Dyslexic, no. That's going to be 2 team kills in a span of like 15 seconds. Dyslexic should get out of here and can still play an impact with the M-bar, but if he dies after 2 team kills from Fire and Ice, this is a disastrous start, and it will be a disastrous start. That was 2 team kills from Fire and Ice in just 10 seconds.
That can't happen. That can't happen. They had a great start to get the power weapon at their opponent right where they wanted them to, but... You know, sometimes Dyslexic, he has a pretty hot trigger finger, and we know that about him. It ain't the first time we've seen little mishaps like that happen, but you're moving too fast, the team feels it. They just come through. Now, close game here. Elevate, they are going to lose control at the B hill, but you see Fearzly trying to take control and win the fight at the 1v1. He knew he had help coming through from Juice, but Vino wins a big 1v1 for his team, and he'll be able to push across the map towards a home hill. And this should force Fire and Ice to disengage. Demise, he takes that info a little bit carelessly, but luckily for him, he had help from a teammate.
Absolutely. Scoreline still close despite Fire and Ice whiffing that initial. Still a chance for them to take control of this round is there. They've got to do it properly. Dyslexic is going to be influential. A lot of pressure on Cinema. Maybe not for the M-bar at this point, but he knows we can't let Elevate get on B. And he is popping off. Tries to push Toti. He had all the confidence in the world, but he doesn't make it happen. Luckily, Toti is going to be there from Fire and Ice. He's going to apply that pressure on Toti. Toti can't get the full cap. Well, maybe he can because a door's opened up wide as Vino pushes in and takes him out. Elevate can do this.
Elevate can most definitely do this. They have a 25-point lead currently. Vino will not make it. Actually, he does. He gets there in time for the revive. The flank comes through from Demise, cleaning up that kill. He'll be able to press up towards the home hill, and he knows he's going to draw at least 1 or 2 players towards his side. And with that info that his team has, this is where they need to play up at B. If Demise dies there, Elevate should still be good to win a round. Nobody's decapping B and recapping down the time for Fire and Ice. With those 2 players kind of around Juice, Info, and ATM, they'll be okay.
The thing about Fire and Ice, whiffing that initial hurt them because they're a team that is momentum based. They start at the beginning of the round, and when they start hot, when they have a strong initial, it's tough to shut them down. It quite truthfully is because they'll continue to pressure up. We've seen that apparent multiple maps, and even in the first 2 rounds that Fire and Ice is able to win, they won in a convincing fashion because they were pressuring as hard as they were. They weren't allowing Elevate to think. And Blaze, that was something you said as we were transitioning from Exhibit over towards District. It's one of the things about Fire and Ice. They don't allow Elevate to think, or at least their opponents. Vino's going to shake things up. Now we're going to see an M-bar and a long shot. And quite honestly, this makes Fire and Ice, if I had to guess, excited, Blaze, because again, this is the strategy that's allowed them to win against E United earlier in the Pro League, just last week.
Yep, just last week. But even better for them, they get to build up their secondary before their opponent. So that's something that they're very, very happy about. They did put one of these center line power weapons down over these last few rounds. Now, this is what I was talking about before. You get 50-50 engagements at both power weapons. You can stack 2 players towards one side if you want. We know there's going to be a 2v2 fight down low. The boys of F&I having that incendiary grenade, that extra leg up. But with that kill on Dyslexic, the nade won't be used, and Elevate will nullify that advantage. They get the power weapon. Now, Toti, he goes big in his 1v1. Him and his teammate, Fearzly, they will overextend towards their opponent's side of the map. But at least F&I has something. They have some type of certain line map positioning. They can come off the respawn, and back up Toti.
Ooh, player 6 Demise still holding his ground deep in Fire and Ice's spawn. He'll take down Dyslexic and get a little bit more points towards the way of Elevate, and at least some more time for Elevate to potentially push in. They got 3 members. They can pressure Toti out of this spot, take him out, and take control of B, and that would be huge as well because Toti has the M-bar. And you notice he doesn't feel comfortable using the M-bar in this spot because he's being pressured from Vino. So that power weapon technically out of play for the time being, allowing Elevate to continue to get more of a lead, feel that much more comfortable. But I don't like this. I would have liked to see Vino pressure up a little bit more and not allow Toti to bring out that M-bar. If he takes down Tidy, if he takes down Vino, a door could be open for Fire and Ice to retake control, start closing out that deficit.
Yeah, Vino needs to understand how much respect he was getting from Toti in that scenario, because Toti says, I'm pulling out my shotgun because I know if I have my M-bar out, you're going to push me in one of these close-range engagements. On the flip end, Vino was just playing his life. In the end, the body shot comes through from DeToX. Vino with the cleanup. Mid-map control for Elevate. They got the sight lines. They're looking to get this one all tied up 2-2 on map number 3. But with this man advantage, they want to find another advantage. Pick up that kill in the respawn in the time it takes for that other player to come off respawn and get back into position. And then take the next. And then take the next if you can. Keep staggering them until you win the map. But it is going to be a 4v2 fight for Fire and Ice. They're going to win the battle on a home hill. Comes down to Toti versus Vino, round number 2.
Man, this is not going to be a good look for Elevate if they lose. Oh, this is going to be bad for Elevate. They need to stay alive in this round, and they will for a little bit. Fearzly's gone, but the domination still occurs. And Blaze,
my issue is,
please do.
My issue is that, like, when it comes down to certain teams, of the first kill will come through, first blood, and the stalemate situation like that, and then afterwards, the other 3 players don't know what they need to do like next right away. It's like some staggered time, and then just poor execution after that comes through.
Sure.
I feel like they could have got some positioning. They could have probably went from juice to juice, got towards the other side of the map. Maybe put themselves in position to get the other player coming out the respawn. I just want to see them play their numbers a little bit better. And, you know, when you got a team full of killers, you get that first blood, the whole team starts moving forward. They know what they need to do next. The next thing you know, it's a 30-second round.
Initial underway. Once again, Elevate pushed back. There was a good instant to at least keep them at bay, and that was used by Fire and Ice. Xploidz might go for a pickup if the flames dissipate, but no, the pressure's going to be real from Elevate. He's angled out, and surely, that's going to be 3 down. Does Elevate force the issue here? Okay, so they're just going to fight for control. They're going to pass off the, well, I thought they were at least. Toti, though, still making good on the fight in Cinema. The only player he needs to get through is going to be Tidy. He's got him on the run, full red. He knows he's in the power position at least. I think he's getting Lancered in the back. Fearzly, though, picks up the M-bar. So much the same start from last time. Long shot going over towards Elevate. Fire and Ice picking up the M-bar. Elevate has the 2-1, and they're working that mid-fight very well.
Yeah, so
nice.
DeToX with the 2-piece. Love to see that one. Now he knows where his next 2 targets are. Gonna keep the scoping. He gets the 3rd, and I'm gonna tell you right now, he's gonna get the 4th. It might not be with a sniper, but he gets it with a shotgun. 4-piece for DeToX. Elevate. They're gonna lock in round number 5.
Yeah, that was huge. Getting that M-bar player out and then connecting when your team is going for the push. That needed to happen 3 times over, because what I was going to say, last round, they pressure up, tried to go for the domination, only to get counter wiped. Fire and Ice takes that round. So it was the 3rd time that has happened. 2 in this map alone, 1 on Asylum. But that was a good answer back to keep it alive, win the swing round 3-2. That makes this map more manageable for Elevate.
Yeah, it is going to make it a little bit more manageable. They need to take that confidence that they got from that last round, bring it on over towards round number 6. We talked about they will be able to kind of trade out those power weapons, and we see F&I are getting that M-bar every single round. Now, we do got to say that Elevate, they're getting a clean 2v2 fight downloaded. They're winning. Also, Toti's winning the 1v1 up top. So it is even numbers. No side of map has a mismatch. Demise presses forward. Xploidz wraps around in time. And when it comes down to this round number 6, the boys of F&I will win that down low engagement, but can Vino trade out the kills up top? Oh, he's focused from multiple directions. He won't be able to. And this is what I mean. You know, when that first blood come through, you got a group of killers on your team.
Yeah.
Because F&I is already on that side of the map. They got faith in each other. They're going to bounce around you. They're going to keep putting out damage. They're going to play off each other. They're going to close out these rounds. They waste no time with the advantages in which they can find.
Yeah, Elevate's, I shouldn't say ace in the hole, but the kryptonite for Fire and Ice is when Elevate wins or at least gets one power weapon and a 2-to-1 split off of the heck, you put power weapons out of the way, you just talk simply about the hills. If they can have a solid initial where they don't necessarily wipe out all of F&I and they, you know, they're not going for a domination, just a clean initial like we've seen in the past couple of rounds, that's where Fire and Ice gets a bit shaky and Elevate has a very real chance of closing out the round. But if you allow Fire and Ice, as you said, a lot of killers on your team, we understand Fire and Ice has a lot of those killers. You give them that initial, you give them all the advantage in the world to close out the round early on. That puts them 4-2. They are on map point, series point.
All right, so when it comes down to this engagement, this time around, Elevate will be able to win it once again. They've won it the majority of time, but when they win this, Toti knows that he can push in and get a free M-bar, and I don't know how much I like that. I don't like Toti being able to quick pick that and get back. That's where I want to see Vino apply pressure because he knows that Toti's going to push him. If he dies, he's going to respawn. He covers his home hill. The game slows down. You guys still got a power weapon. But I think that's an opportunity where he gets a free contest on a player that's pushing his right hand.
Ooh, nice shot from Tidy to take down Dyslexic. Anytime you get him off the map, that's a lot of pressure that's out of the way, at least for the several seconds that he's gone. And for Elevate, you can tell what's cooking in their mind. They want to get this domination. They're pushing up once again. I just want them to be careful because this is where they find themselves in a cumbersome spot where they go and try and commit everything only to be counter wiped, and then Fire and Ice takes the round. But I like the fact that Elevate backed off.
Yeah, I was gonna say this time they're gonna disengage, right?
A smart play.
You know, and you know, I gave Vino some slack on not contesting Toti, but Elevate, they hold the 2-to-1. They moved up as a unit, but the power weapon is still in the hands of Fire and Ice, and they got an M-bar, and that's a big weapon to have. 3 shots left in his sniper. The body shots miss. DeToX knows that he needs to get into the fight. Connects with the nade. Demise, some defensive shotgun shots from him to help win his battle. And that's a 3v2 on the map. You saw the M-bar pick up a headshot there. And another kill. Toti takes out Vino at the cinema. Ooh, DeToX just misses that one, but he has 1 bullet left. F&I, man, they're still in this round.
And if he can pick up Fearzly this late, yes, he can. That's gonna... but an immediate response from Xploidz. Fire and Ice takes the 2-to-1, and already player 4 is trying to push up. That's going to be Toti. He's going to be joined by player 3. You'd have to think very shortly, but the point is, with that M-bar elimination, with the opportunity in Fire and Ice's wheelhouse, they're not going to squander this. They're going to push up, and an Elevate in this spot. Can they effectively hold on? I believe Xploidz still has 1 more shot with the M-bar.
Yeah, 1 more shot with the M-bar. The Av kill is getting decapped, though. Now, with that kill coming through down low, the E-hill. Wow, we almost stopped. That was almost a trip cap domination for Fire and Ice. If it was just a half second down low, they win this map. But instead, Elevate's going to take this round. That was close.
It was. But you know what? It's a win. And that is a victory. Close or not, it's going to be the boys of Elevate staying alive, going to, and that's all that matters. And shout out to DeToX, 14-10, 15 deaths. So what? He's been picking up some big eliminations. You talk about him just a couple rounds previously. Who was it? Picking up Xploidz, I believe, who had the M-bar. You take him down. That ultimately results in a domination because he then popped off and picked up 2 or 3 more. Yeah. Actually, picked up all 4. He picked up an ace at that point. But then even in that last round, that bandstand fight, remember, he's pushing long shot, but let's not forget he also had the instant in his hands. He pushed his teammate at that point in bandstand is in a 2v1. He throws the instant. He now narrows it to a 1v1. Dyslexic is the last one standing. He's forced to push up into Toti. Toti handles his business, Tidy. Tidy handles his business, takes down Toti, and that's the end of the ball game. So, man, DeToX, he continues to play this way. Elevate might have a good chance.
Yeah, they definitely might. He has a nice supporting cast behind him. Demise being that next main slayer, and you know how much I've talked about Tidy and his improvement on his gameplay. He's going to have to play out of his mind this weekend for his squad. Now, Toti, he takes down Fearzly. You talk about playing out of his mind. He wins his 1v1 mid-map, and he has several different opportunities to help in either lane. With the sniper being picked up down low, he's trying to make sure Toti can't escape. He's going to make sure that so the Empire does not get out. Beautiful plays being made by Elevate as a whole, and they may have both these power weapons.
Man, you talk about being in a power spot, getting both the power weapons. You just got to get the M-bar. Long shot in the hands of, okay, so it's gone, but at least having DeToX with the sniper, you've already seen how impactful he can be. That's going to be massive. And again, Elevate, what's the kryptonite of fire and ice? Stopping them on the initials. Elevate does that, and now they can set up defensively. They've got firepower to make it happen. Dyslexic with the instant can make things weird, especially if you connect on the Toti, but either way, Fire and Ice is going to have to play this accordingly. And you can see down low on E, they're wolfpacking together, but immediately shut down Demise, picking up a big elimination on Xploidz. That's going to pump the brakes for Toti. He's not pushing up anymore.
Oh, now Dyslexic, that's a big 1v1 against Vino. 3 solid shots from him. And at this moment, he's going to get this hill capped up. The Elevate having a lead that they do, they don't have to take any crazy fights, but you do want to win that 1v1 in Dyslexic. He runs circles around Toti to keep that home hill to his team. The trip cap domination is there at F and I. They find a way to close it out in the round number 8 off 2 big 1v1s being won by Dyslexic and a team effort from the rest of the crew on top of the neutral hill.
Yeah, well done from F&I. Couple of shaky moments. I'm looking at Fearzly. Fearzly, even though he played, fairly well, 9 and 16, picking up those assists, he had quite a few errors in terms of the misinputs, whether it be on Exhibit or even here on District. But hey, a victory is a victory. F&I gets it, but not a total loss for Elevate. I'm impressed. I quite truthfully am. Vino, he played incredibly well. DeToX for me takes the cake, and if Elevate wins that, I easily give him the MVP, quite honestly, because he was just playing so well. Demise had a couple of key moments, and you mentioned Toti stepping up as well. So Elevate getting into the spring major definitely looked like they could be a dark horse. I'm in agreement with you, Blaze.
Yeah, they definitely can be. They played Fire and Ice fantastically when it came down to those last 2 maps of Exhibit and District, which I feel like I said before, 2 of Fire and Ice's best maps that they have in our entire map cycle. So they showed that they can compete, but in the end, they just could not close out some big rounds there. And there's plenty for them to go back, watch on the VOD, and ask themselves, what could we have done better? Right. Were there advantages that we missed out on? Were there better opportunities in a round in which we could have closed on, rather than playing to the base strategy, rather than making a typical play or the predictable play? Did we do the best that we could in a given moment? So as they ask themselves that question, they are going to get better from that. I think that this Elevate team, they have a lot more room to improve on. The question is that can they do it in the next 4 days?
I think they can. There is, and I'm realistic. I think they really can. There's a lot of promise Elevate showed here. They showed several different looks. One of the biggest things you mentioned, what can they improve on? I want to see them improve on closing out rounds when they have the advantage. 3 times? I think in total it was like 4 attempts to go for the domination, push Fire and Ice to the brink, and out of those 4 times, 3 of those times Elevate blew it, and Fire and Ice was able to counter, get the domination themselves, or at least take the win. And that can't happen for Elevate. 4 times they put themselves in a winning spot, only to win it once. They only won that overextension once, and that can't happen. You have to improve that. So if I'm Elevate, I'm happy with the gameplay. I'm going back to the drawing board, really dissecting what was our positioning like? Why couldn't we win whenever we had the man advantage and was going in for the domination? They cleaned that up. That's a couple of critical rounds going over towards Elevate and potentially even the series. You never know.
Exactly. They came so close to taking down F&I. The map number 1 was the map number 1. Honestly, could have went their way as well.
It's true.
That went the distance. Every single map in this series did, but just a few small adjustments. The series goes a different way.